Coming up, the Big Stone Gap, Virginia community says its final goodbyes to Officer Michael Chandler as he is taken to his final resting place. And the donation of a new fire engine fulfills a long-held dream of Magoffin County Rescue Squad Captain Carter Conley after his death.
Now, you thought this afternoon was chilly. We've got colder temperatures on the way for tonight and tomorrow. I'll have the full breakdown on the way as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
The Big Stone Gap, Virginia community gathered today for the final day of Officer Michael Chandler's services, escorting him through the streets with a hero's send-off. WYMT's Buddy Forbes was there as Officer Chandler took his final ride.
The streets were lined with flags and tributes for a procession that community members called somber and beautiful as Officer Michael Chandler took his final patrol through Big Stone Gap. With hundreds of people and flags lining the sidewalks, Officer Chandler was escorted to his gravesite by first responders from several states across the region. Community members say it was the least they could do to stand up and salute the officer and firefighter who always stood up for them, saying it was a way to celebrate his life, which was cut short when he was killed in the line of duty on his 29th birthday Saturday.
We are here to support him, his family, the other law enforcement officers. We're here to pray for them, for their safety continually. This town has a great loss in it today.
Many say the pain of this loss will echo through the community for a long time, but the legacy Chandler leaves behind will never be forgotten. In Big Stone Gap, Virginia, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Around noon, the final call was sent out for Officer Chandler. It is chilling. We'll have that for you tonight at 6. Those who worked with him say it was an emotional moment as they go back to serving the area he died to protect. We'll have much more about his legacy again coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. First responders in Magoffin County are celebrating Thanksgiving with a brand new supersized toy. The Allen Volunteer Fire Department donated a 1991 model fire truck to the city of Salyersville yesterday, who immediately donated the truck to the Magoffin County Rescue Squad. The truck is painted a fluorescent green, which was the favorite color of Squad Captain Carter Conley, who has always wanted a truck such as this one. Conley contracted COVID-19 and died in September, but the rescue squad hopes the truck plays a role in honoring Conley's legacy.
He was fully vaccinated, and he got the COVID. At the end of the first week, he was getting pretty sick, and then he got hospitalized, and then just never really did recover from him.
Officials with the rescue squad say the new truck will be named Big C-101 in memory of Captain Conley. We'll have more from the Magoffin County Rescue Squad tonight at 6.
Starting to clear things out a little bit after our morning cold front worked on through the region. Those temperatures tanking, by the way, down into the 40s this afternoon. Time-lapse camera from I-64 at Moorhead. You see we're actually breaking out into a little bit of sunshine as we approach the sunset hour, as that front continues its march off to the east. Mountain Parkway camera at Slade, even seeing a little bit of sunshine off in the distance there, and that's actually warmed places further to the west up a little bit. While most of us are in those low 40s, we're in the mid-40s, Moorhead and Irvin, and now sitting at 46 Somerset, 47 the warm spot in Monticello. Contrast that with Wise, Virginia, sitting at 37. And that is a far cry from where we were yesterday. Upper 20s to low 30 degrees below normal, or at least below where we were yesterday. We're still about 10 degrees below normal, but we're 30 degrees colder than yesterday, especially when we were not far from tying some record highs in some parts of the mountains. Last of the rainfall pushing out of southwest Virginia right now. We're going to continue to see things dry out and cool down as we head into the overnight hours. Skies stay mostly cloudy, but that west wind will help move colder air back into the mountains. We're in the upper 20s for overnight lows tonight. It's about 30 degrees cooler than we were last night as well. I'll have the latest on some slight moderation before another trip back to the 30s. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a few short minutes. Steve?
All right. Thank you very much, Evan. The infrastructure bill signed by President Biden contains billions of dollars to clean up a dangerous chemical in drinking water across the country. Health studies find 95% of Americans have PFAS in their bloodstream, but there is no national enforceable standard for what level of exposure can be considered safe. That is frustrating lawmakers like West Virginia's Shelley Moore Capito, who fears for the future generation of children drinking this water.
I want a level that we can use as a standard nationally, and that we can be sure that our children and grandchildren are not going to be having any ill effects.
Under the government's timeline, a true legal limit is still years away, with a prediction of it being started in fall of 2023. For the first time in 5 years, the leaders of the U.S., Canada, and Mexico are sitting down together for a three-way summit. President Biden is looking to build back a good trilateral partnership among the three nations after relations were strained under the previous administration. The three are expected to discuss several major issues, including the economy, COVID-19, and climate change. CBS's Skylar Henry reports from the White House, where meetings are already underway.
Meetings around the country.
President Biden welcomed Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador to the White House. The president first met with each leader one-on-one.
I think we both think we're at our best when opportunity, equity, and justice all coincide.
Then all three sit down together Thursday afternoon for the first North American Leaders Summit since 2016. Economic cooperation is at the top of the agenda for the group sometimes referred to as the Three Amigos.
We should be building back in a more significant, more environmentally friendly way.
We've been strongly aligned on environment, on fighting COVID and getting through this pandemic.
Canada has raised concerns over the proposed tax credit for American-made electric vehicles, a provision in the president's Build Back Better bill.
We're going to talk about that.
The electric vehicle tax credits is an opportunity to help consumers in this country.
U.S. officials have said the three leaders wouldn't center their talks around border policy. Instead, they're using the summit as an opportunity to lock arms to mitigate the root causes of migration. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The White House has chosen to forego holding a joint news conference at the end of today's summit, as has been customary during past meetings of the so-called Three Amigos. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau will hold a unilateral news conference at the Canadian Embassy. It will soon be easier for people to reach the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The Federal Communications Commission has approved an easy-to-remember three-digit number for the hotline. The number is 10 digits, 1-800-273-TALK right now. Now the new number will be just 988. Both texting and calling 988 will be available. The change should be implemented by phone carriers by next July. The action is expanding access to the critical national hotline and comes as suicide becomes a growing public health problem in the United States. A University of Georgia football player accused of rape is out of jail on a $25,000 bond. Adam Anderson was in court Thursday to face sexual assault charges. He was joined by family, friends, coaches, and former teachers, many of whom spoke out on his behalf as character witnesses. His accuser is a woman who says she went to his apartment on October 29th. She says she was drunk at the time and did not consent. Prosecutors asked the court to deny bond, but the judge ruled against the request, saying Anderson is not a danger to the community. FDA authorization for a Pfizer booster shot for all adults could come at any time. The drug maker filed for authorization last week. The CDC would still need to sign off on the plan. Some states aren't waiting, though, with Massachusetts becoming the latest to approve boosters for anyone over 18 this morning. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear did that yesterday. The moves come as breakthrough infections surge across the country. Minnesota is one of the hot spots.
CDC will quickly review the safety and effectiveness data and make recommendations as soon as we hear from FDA.
If you were already vaccinated 6 months or more ago and eligible for a boost, get a boost.
The White House announced yesterday that nearly 10% of 5 to 11-year-olds in the U.S. have received their first dose of the vaccine since that group became eligible earlier this month. Hospitals being stretched so thin during COVID surges may have led to deaths that could have been avoided. That's according to a new report published Thursday by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. From July 2020 to July 2021, when intensive care units were at 75% or greater capacity, there were 12,000 excess deaths 2 weeks later. When ICU beds were totally full, there was an additional 80,000 excess deaths 2 weeks later. Excess deaths are the difference between the observed and expected number of deaths during a specific time period. Researchers are studying what they are calling an emerging public health concern connected to the pandemic. New research focused on COVID patients who lost their sense of smell and taste after contracting the virus. The study estimates between 700,000 and 1.6 million Americans who had the coronavirus either lost or had a change in their sense of smell. Most recover their sense of smell eventually, but the study suggests some may never do so. The study calls for more research into the long-term loss of a sense of smell. Netflix will have a new face in their original movies, announcing Lindsay Lohan will soon star in one of their upcoming films. The Netflix holiday special is yet to be named, but a few details about the plot are getting out. Variety says Lohan plays an engaged hotel heiress who finds herself being taken care of by a handsome lodge owner after suffering amnesia during a skiing accident. Actors Cord Overstreet, Jack Wagner, and Olivia Perez are also part of the cast. The movie will be available for streaming on Netflix late next year. Coming up on First at 4, prices for just about everything are on an upward climb this holiday season, including the food for your Thanksgiving dinner.
Our weather roller coaster continues as temperatures go up and down. I'll have the latest on where they're up to next.